Good evening also to those people which are on the live stream right now. Thank you for joining us. Thank you all for taking the time for this evening to speak with you about a new technology, which is actually not only a technology, but I believe also part of a movement, how things are today, like we work with communities a lot. And I'm very excited to let Ela speak from Supermarket. She is supporting the community growth here from RChain Europe. Maybe to give some idea about that, everybody who's going to speak this evening here is an RChain Coop member. And this is a community which started to grow heavily here in Europe after some people of us went over to the US earlier this year. And we will share the knowledge we got here to show you the insights we learned. Without further ado, Ella, it's nice to have you here. Short applause for Ella. Hello.
And thank you so much. And Tim, this is also your applause. Thanks to you and your team for organizing this and having us here tonight. I'm actually really excited, I have to say, because it's the first meeting of RChain Europe that we are holding here in Berlin. And actually, this whole thing that we are going to talk about is still heavily under development. So I think it's a great chance for everyone here tonight to inform yourself and also get involved if you feel like this could be something for you. Because whatever we talk about tonight, I think, is totally in the hands of the community that is about to develop it. So that is, I think, quite an important piece of information. Yeah, as Tim already said, my name is Ela. I work as a digital strategist for 20 years now, and I'm co-founder of Supermarkt. Some of you might know Supermarkt. It's a community space, and it's an independent research platform based here in Berlin. Actually not far away from here, 15 minutes per bike at the Mehringplatz. And my intention today is to share a little bit with you why I'm so inspired by RChain, and yeah, why I think it's a really interesting project to get engaged with. And over the past 10 years, me and my peers at Supermarkt have been working on the ongoing digitization of our society and on collaborative economies. And while we have been running workshops on the topic, doing research, consulting collaborative businesses that came up, that emerged in Berlin, we have gone through quite a number of paradigm shifts in the past 10 years, I would say. So, of course, we've seen the rise of the cloud technologies and the big enthusiasm and consecutively the downfall of the sharing economy. All the ideas surrounding Industry 4.0, smart city, Internet of Things, the rise of the big monopolistic media platforms, and then, of course, blockchain. So that is a little bit the context over these past years in which also RChain operates since its incorporation, I think 1.5 years ago. Around 2014, a new term was coined, and that was platform capitalism. And that was something that all of a sudden came up with regards to these big platforms that actually managed to make profit of networking market participants and becoming so profitable that these enterprises grew and grew, becoming ever more powerful. So while Airbnb, Uber, Google, Amazon, and so on turned out to be the highest rated companies in the world, around the same time, there was another movement going on. While platform capitalism emerged, there was another movement rising, and that was called platform cooperativism, as opposed to platform capitalism. And this is all about taking the model of the co-op and expanding it into the digital marketplace. And of course, along with all the governance tools that have stood the test of time, such as collective ownership, democratic control, collective decision-making, and so forth. And actually, we are quite happy tonight that we have the person that helped to make this movement really strong, Trevor Scholz, here in the audience. And Trevor, you have to at least show your hands so people know you, because it's a great chance to chat with Trevor about platform cooperativism and about his work in the recent years. And I think I'm especially happy because it's an interesting angle that helps us to really look at our projects and works quite critical. I've been looking at different blockchain projects and ICOs here in Berlin over the past years. And I've been really happy to work with people such as Peter Harris from Resonate Music. He's the founder, and he will speak after me. And basically, Peter is also the one to blame that I'm now engaged with RChain, because one day he said, you should really talk to the team in Seattle and figure out whether this could be something for you. And at a certain point, he proposed whether I wouldn't feel like helping RChain Coop to create a home base here in Europe, especially here in Berlin. So I got in touch with them, and after several conversations, I've had the feeling this is really interesting. So I'm really up for it. So let's start working. And the reason why I got inspired and why I said yes to that collaboration was actually 4 reasons, I would say. First one is the technology that I find absolutely convincing and powerful. I won't talk about it though, because we have more speakers coming up and I don't want to take away their time. Second reason is that RChain is a co-op. So building a strong technology in the hands of a co-op is an idea that I find especially appealing, especially if we look at those platform monopolists that are heavily critiqued these days. Third reason is that everything that RChain produces is open source and for others to use. And I think this is really exciting. And the fourth one is that RChain has structured its organization around a firm set of values and a very strong dedication to collective action. And I think these are 4 really strong ingredients that can help us to create something that is quite unique and that is especially interesting for other collaborative businesses. So while RChain Europe is going to be generally open to all sorts of clients and partners and customers, it has a very special mandate to address other co-ops that want to leverage their digital products and services. And we are especially talking about identity solutions. We are talking about governance tools such as online voting or capturing member sentiment and so forth. So now here at RChain Europe, we are now in the process of founding a Genossenschaft, a co-op. And those of you who have ever been in that process know that I see people nodding in the audience. That encourages me. It's quite something. Why is that? Because co-ops are considered a cultural heritage in Germany, and therefore the regulations around co-ops are extremely strict. On the one hand, it's a drag. On the other hand, it's really good because it forces us to really think constantly about our governance systems. It forces us to think about the way we collaborate and work and about our communication to the outside world, of course. We expect to be registered, fully registered at a co-op within the next couple of weeks. And we kindly invite everyone who will stick around tonight and listen to those talks and who feels like, okay, this is interesting, I would like to become involved, to sign up for our newsletter. You will find the web address in the Meetup, right, where you have all signed up for. And you can just leave your address. And as soon as we are ready to onboard members, we will let you know and we will send you further information. I think that's about it from my side. I'm super happy that you're all here. And I wish you a fantastic evening, and I want to hand over the mic to Peter Harris, founder of Resonate Music Streaming Collective.
Thank you, Ellen. I am also equally excited to get to talk to this first meetup group of RChain in Berlin. I've been in Berlin for close to 6 years. It'll be 6 years in October. My journey in blockchain started with the Ethereum crowd sale in 2014. And it was that moment when I really felt like we might finally have the possibility of kind of correcting a lot of the mistakes that have been made in the internet over the last or the previous 10 years, sort of kind of the birth of Web 2.0 that created this sort of dark side of platform capitalism, as Ella was referring to. And seeing the Ethereum crowd sale, it gave me hope that maybe we're finally going to have some tools and technologies that would help kind of liberate us with that from that context. And it was sort of, I think, about 6 or 7 months later, after the crowd sale happened for Ethereum, that I found myself at Transmediala listening to Vinay Gupta speak, and he put Ethereum and decentralized technologies into context, and it was a creative explosion of ideas. My partner Susanna's here, and she remembers. So I don't think I slept that weekend. The ideas were just flying manically fast around how we could take this technology, rewire economic and social value exchange among people to create more equitable relationships, so that we wouldn't get into these same power dynamics that we've had, where money is just continually being sucked up into the top 0.001%. And so it was really clear that I was going to do something, and it didn't take too long before I realized that it was going to be around music. I've been a DJ and a producer. I've also worked as a web developer for dozens of artists, and had been listening to their stories, like my friend JB, who's a guitarist who co-wrote some songs for Santana and had to wait 3 years to get paid for songs on platinum selling or double platinum selling records because of the inefficiencies in the business. It was lots of these kinds of stories that informed a kind of emotional and creative data bank that culminated in the formation of Resonate. So what is Resonate? It's a streaming music cooperative owned by the members, the listeners, the labels. There's one of our labels is here tonight. Sylvia, if you want to raise your hand. Crazy Language. Very exciting. We've had lots of email exchanges for months, and now get to meet in person. And so the membership owns the platform, and I thought that I had invented the concept, and it was a few months after putting out the initial feelers into the music world that I discovered Trevor and the platform co-op concept. And so, but what was the challenge for all those years was funding. A co-op doesn't have equity, and so when I had the very lucky privilege of bumping into Greg Meredith, the mathematician and founder of RChain, randomly at a Token Summit after party in New York City. Just walked into a room, and there he was standing there on his phone. I was like, I know who that is. That's somebody I wanted to talk to. I think he maybe was second after Vitalik for his, people in the blockchain space that I would love to eventually meet. And we struck up a conversation, decided to talk again, and that first really long, deep chat happened a year ago here in Berlin. And it was at that time where he pledged the desire to support Resonate and to help us build out on the RChain platform. And that process culminated with an investment from Reflective Ventures in March of this year. And Reflective Ventures is a very interesting VC fund because it's owned by the co-op. The co-op is a limited partner and owns the fund. So the majority of the profits go back to RChain, and it creates a very nice circular kind of economic business relationship because you get platforms that get to be funded, and then if those platforms are profitable, they can circulate profit back into the co-op to help build the long-term infrastructure. And I think that compared to the struggles that the Ethereum Foundation has had, I think this is a really helpful solution I think actually Gnosis is maybe one of the companies that kind of came together and rescued the foundation or decided to help. I don't know the full story, but there wasn't a mechanism in place to keep that long-term ongoing support built into the community, and that's something that exists inside RChain. And so We are really super excited about what's coming up in the future. We've got, there's going to be a very interesting demo at RCon on the 5th. So I highly recommend anyone that's interested in music and technology and blockchain. We're going to have a very nice demo. It's listed in the program as, I think, audio demo. It's kind of oblique, but it should be quite interesting. And if anybody would like to join me as a guest, you can find me on social media and or on Twitter at least, and send me a DM, and I can give you a little code. So. Yeah, I'm really thrilled that we're going to get to launch at the mainnet in December. I think we've got our community's growing by leaps and bounds, and we've just signed up a couple of distributors, and we'll soon have over 10,000 artists on the platform, and are going to really this fall start a big push to launch a whole new system, rebranding effort, and start incorporating RChain technology at various stages. It's going to be very transitional, I think, for at least a year or so, because we are talking about onboarding the sort of general population into the crypto space, and so I think that will it'll be a gradual process. It definitely is not going to happen overnight, but I'm really excited about what's developing there. So come up and say hi if you would like to ask some questions, or if you want to throw something out now, that's fine. Up to you, Tim.
Yeah, actually I do. Peter, thank you first of all. I want to ask you a short question, because I didn't know how many people in the audience are here with a crypto background, or have went to other meetups in the crypto space. Maybe we can have a quick show of hands. Who went to other blockchain meetup before?
Pretty much everybody.
Pretty much everybody.
The only ones who are not raising their hand are just maybe
absolutely tired. Yeah, maybe. But let me ask a question.
Yeah.
What is the main benefit of having a music platform on the blockchain? Just in one sentence, so everybody understands what the real benefit is here.
The main benefit of building a music service on blockchain is it's a simple question that I don't think has a simple answer. The one example I gave of my buddy JB, who went through this experience, and this is common. It can take years for artists to get paid. I don't know of any other industry that can take 2 years to pay its suppliers, and that's the music business. And so one of the things that we're working on is a catalog project. We're going to announce a pilot in September, and because there's no single repository for rights, you have metadata that gets split up across all kinds of different services and verticals throughout the business, and it creates a lot of dramatic inefficiencies. And by one example, I've heard from indie labels that are on Spotify, and Spotify will email them a link to FTP download their data in spreadsheet format, and and this is a small indie label out of the Pacific Northwest that has 200,000 lines in a spreadsheet. And that's what they've got to process for every single little transaction. Because every time you click play on Spotify, it's generating a line in a spreadsheet.
Wow.
And this is an example of the inefficiencies that you see in the business. So I think that this is one of the big wins that we hope to gain.
So if somebody
does get a bit complicated when you really get a little deeper into the rights issues and stuff like that, copyright and things. But
if somebody buys a music title on the blockchain today, how long does it take to get an artist paid?
Again, not so simple, right? Because most artists are not capable of managing crypto. We also we've done our whole pricing model based on fiat currency, because there's no real effective stablecoin that is capable of delivering a consistent concrete value. You don't want a song costing 10 cents one day and then 1/100th of a cent the next day, and then 50 cents 2 weeks from now.
All right.
So it is a bit more complex than I could probably summarize, but I think that the hope definitely is that by dealing with some of these supply chain management problems, we'll be able to reach an efficiency of scale for a digital era, and that blockchain is the technology for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, Peter.
Thank you.
Thanks. Just a short organizational question. Is this loud for you or disturbing when you have the cars passing by on this side? Because we could close the windows. I think on the other side they are open. So if you have the feeling that the noise is too loud, feel free to close the windows on this side of the room. All right. I want to share a little bit more of the RChain story before we go into technical aspects. And I want to highlight that technology is always a tool. But what we make out of technology depends really on the intention. If we go back in time, we know that there was a lot of research in the fields of atomic bombs, and that there is a very negative usage in atomic bombs, but we can use them also to extract energy and use them in nuclear power plants. So I think with every technology we create this question, what can you do good with it? And what are the things you can do with that technology to do bad stuff? And when I see bad stuff, it's pretty generic, right? What is good and what is bad? And a lot of people say, or some people say, oh, we don't even know what this really means, good and bad. And personally, for me, it's a feeling. It comes from here. It's a feeling about if this feels right or wrong. And for example, if I look at a forest, and then this forest is completely destroyed to create a field for harvesting, which is a little bit later, like 3 years later, a desert because of resource exploitation, then it feels wrong. I don't know why, but it feels wrong. And a lot of people I have spoken to in the RChain community share a specific feeling of urgency, which is related to the situation we are in as a species in general. And I'm speaking about existential risks. I'm speaking about that we have a lot of war ongoing right now. I'm speaking about displacement of people on a very large scale. We estimate that we will have displacements of people in an even larger scale because of climate change and change of the ocean horizon. So this means that we face challenges today we haven't faced before. We are, as a society and as a human race, we develop new technologies, and we develop new technologies not only in the blockchain space, but also in the space of artificial intelligence and robotics. A lot of people will lose their jobs in the next 20 years to those new technologies. And then it's the question, what's my purpose? What am I doing? Can we keep social unrest from unfolding through asking us this question in a timely, early enough to repurpose what we do in society? And then there's also the question, how can we coordinate at a scale where we can face those existential risks? And like I said, I had that conversation over and over again. I was just flying back from Seattle, where we had a strategic meeting in Seattle with a lot of people which joined the RChain cooperative for many reasons. But we all share this feeling of urgency that we need a platform we can trust to evolve in a digital society. A platform where we are heard, where we can personally participate because we have digital identities, where our data belongs to us. And this is the promise of blockchain. We will see how we can fulfill that promise, but I think we are on a very good way. And RChain is a platform which ensures one very important thing. And this is that it's secure in its execution. And you might think, okay, IT security, well, that's not so my topic. Yes, I understand that. But if your life depends on it, it becomes very important. And we have increasingly more dependencies. This means that the computers we wear with us and the things which are actually connected and which do stuff for us become more and more and more. And do you want to sit in a self-driving car which actually is taken over by a hacker or which breaks down because of a bug? I don't think so. And I think this is a very important question we need to ask. What is the platform we can use to build a secure infrastructure for society? I already said that. I believe that self-sovereign digital identities are a very important thing. Being heard, having the opportunity to vote in a secure manner, is another application. And all these other applications which can arise on a global compute platform, on a global smart contract platform. So that's one motivation why I'm here, because I believe that this infrastructure can serve us to really coordinate on a global scale and build those governance systems, or others say to that also, decentralized social networks, like Facebook but bigger, right, for over 2 billion people, which are fair and which represent values where we can do good. Without further ado, I'd like to hand over to the technical details to this platform. We will keep them to 30-minute slots. And if something is too technical, if you have the feeling, okay, you lose me here, please speak up. We have a microphone here. And it's important that you signal when you have the feeling that you want to have it a little bit lighter. And then our speakers can react to it. And now I'm very happy to hand over to David from the inblock.io team as well. We are all co-op members representing here, firstly as co-op members. But we are also happy as the inblock.io team to organize that event. David, please come on stage.